back on? Good, yeah. Thank you, Saxy 4. I'm Dan Lamberton, and I guess part of the reason I'm here is because I work with the very instrument. So I'll start off with that. Can you hear me? All right, here. Thanks. Tell me when you can't hear this. The Eastern Oregon writer H.L. Davis, who won a Pulitzer Prize in 1936 for his stories of our region, told about an old farmer who catches some boys rifling through his barn to find an old hay tool to play with. The tool is hand-carved, it's a rake or a pitchfork, created from local wood and just perfect as the boys see it for making a bow to shoot ducks with. But the old farmer stops them and he says, I made these tools myself, it was hard work. If I don't have them around where I can look at them sometimes, I might not remember it. Please go put it back. Besides, those tools can still pitch hay. Like those old tools, we're here to see pictures held against a historic wall. And like the wooden tools, these pictures can still pitch hay. We're here to celebrate the handicraft of hard work, the assembly of images and stories. Today's event, I think, is like a good family reunion. It's multi-generational. And of course, there's food made by the usual background hands, in this case, Grays. Thank you. Yeah, this will keep my ink from running, okay. And there's someone who sings the old songs, and inevitably someone who will play the new ones here, maybe through a car window or a boombox. And there's a place where we're standing now, balanced by a playground where brand new citizens can slide and climb beside the pictures of the older ones, whose children we are, and who themselves lived in complicated ways among people like us. Beside us, to the one side, is a slotted creek, one that we know as in 1996 could still be unruly in flood, and as in these pictures, it shows that it was. And beside us is a street that's always been modern, once with cable cars and commuting lines up and down the residential streets, once with new plumbing beneath them that we now see, as we see everywhere, wears out as surely as we do. There is diversity all around in these pictures, held in this one locale so that a walk among the images can feel like a walk through a dense Manhattan, with immigrant neighbors from China and Italy and Japan and Eastern Europe and Norway and the Ukraine and Mexico, with churches from synagogues to shrines, with evidence of community accord and community travail, with Main Street crowded as everyone watches a baseball game, with evidence of brothels and tunnels where life was restricted and hidden. As with our own co-ops and our farmers market, there was local commerce, local food, local entertainment, local welfare, all with the spice of imported traditions. This is a place of immigration where, as it was to our coastal harbors, immigrants came and first encountered, like pilgrims, those natives who had always been here. In a box of old family letters, I have one my grandfather wrote describing a Walla Walla River flood in the 1930s and how he can't see the fence posts and how all the garden and chickens and turkeys are gone. It's a hard letter, written in a matter-of-fact way, or so it seems now, in simple declarative sentences without complaint. His letter shows how much difficulty he had with writing because orally he was wildly inventive. There is actually a book that describes the great liars of his home county, and Grandpa is on the very first page. But his letter is more like a photograph, a surface declaration of a deeper story. But without the letter, without the photograph, we are left with the stories he told that shift and lead and require really deep research to verify, as we had for these. Mankind is a storytelling animal, says Graham Swift, and perhaps that is because history itself is an impossible thing, an account made with incomplete knowledge of actions themselves that were taken with incomplete knowledge. So history teaches us to be realistic, to see how we've tried our hardest while stumbling through, befriending each other, always fearing something, but sticking together in groups of family and church and ethnicities as we watch. Each group clings to artifacts, thinking of them as private, but finding, because of the remarkable curiosity and tenacity of others and the goodwill of those who believe in larger community, that each story, and each picture, and each memory gathers us together, makes us march for each other's safety, sing for our combined welfare, and praise of the place we love and call home. And in our case, this amusingly named town, backed by mountains, surrounded by floodplain, peopled by laborers, guards, merchants, tradesmen, scholars, and farmers, our Walla Walla. Thank you so much to all of you who told your stories for our good, and those of you who gathered the stories for our memory, and who designed this wall for this city's culture and collective story. Last week, when Linda Andrews and Janice King and I were reviewing what we do for this program, we were led around by Jeanne McMenemy, who pointed out the stories behind the images here. And as we're finishing, Linda Andrews said, what this community needs to hear are the stories told by the people who gathered them, like Jeanne McMenemy, Gina Garski, Judith Johnson, and Hans Machakot. So I'm going to hand this microphone to them here in the rain to explain a few of their images. Who's going to start? Okay, you are? I can do that. Okay, we'll just do a couple. Let's start with Jeanne. Do we have the pole? Okay, there's a special bamboo pole reserved for this process.